Hello there, everybody. Welcome along to In the Loop, the weekly theme park news show from Park Rush. I'm Tom, and that's Josh.
Hello there.
Hello there, Josh. How's it going?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
I'm very excited because this is the first episode of In the Loop, which is presented in 3D.
Ooh.
No, I thought as there is some Park Rush adjacent Universal gallivanting going around, given that your family are out there now in sunny Florida, I thought I'd celebrate by wearing my very best. And my very best is my Ogre Vision spectacles.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that.
No, absolutely not. Excuse the Arsenal shirt, by the way, if that offends anybody watching. I was at the game today as of recording and have come home and then since then had a quick dinner and then sat in front of a boiling hot computer recording for hours on end Park Rush content. So I'm yet to have a shower or anything. I think I smell. In fact, I smell. I haven't smelled this bad since I was at Disney World, I would say.
Wow. Straight up admit it. Fair play.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
this might be 3D. Be thankful it's not 4D because you don't want to smell what I'm putting down. Yeah,
Ogre Vision.
Yeah, I smell of an ogre. That is for sure. Josh, speaking of sort of theme park merch, I'm going to take these off now.
Careful.
They hurt my nose. Josh, you've been shopping.
I have.
What have you done? What have you done?
There you go. Tom, you can't see this.
Oh, hello. No, I can't. I'm going to imagine that I can. In fact, hold on. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, look at that.
It is the Lego Disney Haunted Mansion. The Disneyland California Haunted Mansion. I'm going to flip it around so you can see the back, which has some internal views there. I'm trying to get it. There we go.
Where'd you get it, Josh? I hear these are actually, I was reading an article, haven't included it in the news section this week, but I was reading that these are actually quite hard to find. In the US, at least, they've been out of stock from Lego directly. Some people have been lucky enough to find them out in the wild in the Disney parks. Yeah.
Is that true?
It's true, yes. According to Walt Disney News Today, Walt Disney World News Today, rather. It's been sold out on shopdisney.com and lego.com. But as I say, people have found it in the Magic Kingdom. So.
I just went on the Lego website and bought it.
I guess there are less theme park crazies here than in the US, right? Maybe that's...
I guess so, yeah. I knew that it was coming out. You couldn't buy it. You couldn't pre-order it. You could only buy it from the 1st of August.
Right.
And as soon as I got logged onto my laptop for work that day, first thing I did was went on the Lego website and bought it.
You should build it on a stream. You should turn that into content, Josh.
Tom,
because as we know, everyone's hobby has to become content. Otherwise, you're just wasting time.
Tom, as if I hadn't already planned that.
Oh, he's ahead of the game, this guy. That's why he's going to the very top of the theme park media game, this guy. I'm just along for the ride.
Not only that, I was also planning on building my other Lego purchase on a stream as well, or on a video as well, which is not theme park related as such, but it is Disney related, and that is the BD. This is kind of tough to not block my microphone, but the BD1 droid from the game Fallen Order and also appears in Mandalorian Series 2, right?
Is it? Or is it Boba Fett? I forget.
Boba Fett. Yeah, it might be Boba Fett, actually. Even that part of Boba Fett where that isn't to do with Boba Fett, it's actually to do with the Mandalorian. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be building both of those on videos, hopefully coming soon. Basically relying on when I get some time to actually build the damn things in between putting this out, putting the main podcast out, putting the vlog out, doing my day job, trying to have some form of a social life. running a football team.
All right. Well, look, if you list all your responsibilities, we'll be here for far longer than our advertised running time of around half an hour, because the whole point of In the Loop is to try and whittle through the week's major theme park news in around about half an hour. Each week, we'll pick out 3 stories plus another rumour or topic of interest, and the two of us, sometimes with an esteemed guest, we hope, will discuss them. If you enjoy the show, please do subscribe and hit that like button. And if you want even more than the Park Rush podcast itself, which is approaching an incredible milestone of 200 episodes, can be found at parkrush.com or wherever you get your podcasts. All the socials are at links.parkrush.com. And if you want to get in touch with the show, you can, of course, leave a comment down below, as long as it's not abusive. Or you can email us, podcast@parkrush.com. Without further ado, let's get into the news. And I hate to start on a bit of a downer, but I feel like it would be remiss of us to ignore the one theme park story that made it into the mainstream media, even over here, even though it didn't relate to a theme park in the UK. But certainly a theme park brand that we're very familiar with here, Legoland, the German incarnation of Legoland, which could be found in Günzburg in the south of Germany. Nasty accident there this past week. And I've got the Sky News right up here. So I'll just read the top of the story. More than 30 people were injured, one severely, after 2 roller coaster trains crashed into each other.
Wow.
Yeah, this was on the Fire Dragon ride. 3 helicopters were sent to the scene, fire and rescue services as well. 31 people injured in total, and a criminal investigation was launched, as well as, of course, an internal inquiry at Legoland itself. This happened on Thursday. The park did open as normal on Friday, but the ride did not. And I believe the Fire Dragon ride was kind of advertised as being down kind of for the foreseeable, as well as the area and kind of the immediate vicinity of the ride. Now, I've never been to Legoland Germany, but it goes without saying that this is a park that's very, very much advertised as being for families, for young kids. This particular ride has a minimum age of 6 for children who are by themselves. 6 for accompanied children, 8 if you're by yourself. So very young kids are more than capable of going on this ride. And yeah, never a good thing to see. I think by and large, and you know, obviously as of recording, we don't know too much about the nature of the injuries that of the person who was severely injured, and we obviously hope that it turns out that it's not too bad for them. But I don't know about you, Josh, but whenever a sort of roller coaster accident of this ilk does occur, I am minded to think back to the one that I think most people in the UK are familiar with in recent times, which was involved the Smiler at Alton Towers, which was a truly horrendous one, which involved a young girl losing her legs, which was obviously awful. And this one, thankfully, does not seem as though it was nearly as bad, but still nothing close to what you want to see, and not the type of thing that you would ever want to see happen yourself at a theme park. Must be pretty harrowing if you're present for that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously being a Legoland park, this is run by Merlin Entertainment, like Alton Towers is, which is obviously where Smiler is. So another unfortunate notch in the Merlin poor record, I guess you could say, across the various parks. It's unfortunate that it's them as well. Usually, you know, these big parks like Legoland and obviously your Disney's and your Universals and that sort of thing, there's quite a tight-knit community when it comes to safety. So when something happens like it does on the Smiler, everyone learns from that, and then it doesn't very rarely happens again at the large parks. So this has probably not happened due to the same reason, I would imagine, as the Smiler, but obviously it is a similar instance, so similar result, unfortunately.
Yeah, details are, as I say, a little scant at the moment. You know, if more information comes out between us recording this and the show going out, then I'll strive to include the most up-to-date information, or at least a link to a story containing the most up-to-date information in the show notes. So, take a look down there if just in case things have moved on at all. But yeah, coincidentally and rather horribly, there was another roller coaster accident in southern Germany, in a place called Klotten, another amusement park, and that one, a woman actually died in that incident. Again, just going by the Sky News' reporting here, they say that a 57-year-old woman fell out of a roller coaster as it was moving and died of her injuries. And the cause of that accident has not been identified either. Quite often with roller coasters, again, we don't want to sort of speak out of turn, but it is, I feel like quite often with incidents like this, especially when you have trains crashing into one another, it's probably an issue with the braking system. But again, it is probably not helpful to speculate at this stage. So perhaps I should.
Yeah, absolutely. When, the Smiler, what that came down to was the braking system, the automated system worked exactly as you would expect. It stopped the coaster, the train from continuing into an area where there was already a train. Unfortunately, it was actually a staffing error that allowed that train to go into that area, even though there was already a train there, and that's what caused the accident. So, like I said, usually when an incident like that happens, the roller coaster community learns from that, and it doesn't happen again. But we don't know how this accident occurred, so we'll have to wait until the investigation is concluded to see if it was same issue as the one on the Smiler, or if it was a different issue here.
Yes, but obviously, again, we stress our best wishes to everyone who was injured, and hopefully, a speedy recovery will be had by all.
Absolutely.
We'll pivot away from that now towards a bit of sort of theme park industry news, if you like. And this just seems to have been announced in spite of, or out of spite, for everyone who was ever excited about the London resort. Paramount, Josh, whoring themselves around to whichever theme park company will give them a deal. Paramount Pictures have now signed a construction agreement for a theme park in Bali.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course, have long since dropped out of the London resort, RIP.
But they were back in it again, weren't they?
Oh yeah, then they got back in it, you're right. But then I think the most recent incarnation of the London resort, they were out again, no?
God,
or at least they were involved more tangentially. Because originally, of course, this was London Paramount. They were very much involved in a major way. But, as the project developed, they did eventually drop out. And then, like you said, they kind of came back on board, but in a slightly different way. And anyway, the history of the London Resort, we don't need to get into that right now. But, they'll be hoping for better luck with this particular park project, which, as I say, is in Bali in Indonesia. We've got a quote here from Ade Solist. Oh, goodness me. I apologise in advance for this. Solistia Putra, I'm going to say. The managing director of Kios.
I thought you were going to say P.Y. Jabot. He's moved on.
The further I scroll down this article, maybe he'll crop up.
Yeah, there is a T.Y. So
there is, isn't there? Yeah. But yes, he's the managing director of Kios, this gentleman, and that's the company that has signed the deal with Paramount to build this park. In Bali, it's set to be one of the largest theme parks in Southeast Asia, 57 hectares. They're aiming for 5 million visitors in its first year. And he says Paramount is a global brand that captures the imagination of everyone from children to adults. We all have exciting memories of Paramount films with a legacy of excellence that has lasted 110 years. I don't know about you, but I hope that they just sort of copy and paste the plans they had for the London Resort originally, and they just let the people of Indonesia try to get to grips with rides about EastEnders and Doctor Who.
And there's a Jeremy Clarkson character walking around, just shouting "Power!"
Yeah, I'll be all for that. Yeah. That would be brilliant.
Cat Slater.
Yeah. See, why are we at this stage still? I mean, we've been talking about theme parks in our respective studios,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
almost 4 years now, and quite while we're still doing this and aren't more intimately involved in the industry when we're full of such great ideas. I mean, I don't understand it. It's
No, it
it's a
doesn't.
mystery to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. For now, it seems that they are limiting themselves to Paramount's library itself. And they straight up say that they will probably draw on Nickelodeon stuff. So SpongeBob SquarePants, Dora the Explorer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Movie Park Germany will be fuming, Josh.
Yeah, what are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Nickelodeon's been... What a weird relationship that brand has had with theme parks, right? Because it obviously was a big part of Universal back in the day.
Doesn't it
Still is to an
get
extent.
kicked around a lot as a company anyway? Like it moves. Like at one point it was Disney. At one point it was
Was it Nickelodeon?
Was it not?
No,
Am I getting that mixed
I
up?
don't think. No, I'm almost certain that that's not correct. But I've been wrong before. Is it Viacom now?
Is it Viacom?
Viacom?
Paramount, right? So.
Well, it's Paramount. Who are they owned by? Or are they their own thing? I think Paramount might be Viacom, you know. I think that might be correct.
No, Paramount Global.
Yeah.
Paramount Global.
There we are. Who were
Viacom. So Viacom rebranded this year.
Oh, okay, fine. I mean, corporations can't keep up. Anyway, yeah, the Nickelodeon sort of relationship with theme parks has been weird, you know. Like, there's a SpongeBob SquarePants shop still at Universal Studios Florida and a meet and greet. But of course, Nickelodeon used to be a way bigger part of that park. You had the on-site Nick Studios and the Jimmy Neutron ride and all that stuff. But yeah, anyway, it looks like they're going to be part, almost certainly, of this Paramount theme park in Bali. There's also going to be 2 hotels, the Paramount Grand Resort and the Nickelodeon Resort, and these will both offer direct access to the theme park. They're also promising that Indonesian culture will be represented, and there will be an attraction in the Land of Legends area, which will be based on the country's myths and legends. They're claiming it will have the first Indonesian-inspired ride at an international theme park.
Well, that could be interesting.
So there you go. Yeah. I mean, you know, we could very quickly play the same game that we've been playing with the London Resort for over a decade now, which is what other Paramount properties would you like to see represented at this park? Again, Movie Park Germany will be fuming, but I guess you could have Star Trek, right?
Yes, but there is a thing. I think it actually says it here in this article. There is a Paramount branded theme park opening in China that has a Star Trek zone called the Final Frontier.
Oh, okay.
So, and then another company is building a Paramount theme park in Korea. So that, you know.
It really is out of spite, isn't it? They're building everywhere except the place that they promised outside London.
Yeah, that's what it feels
Here
like.
in fine North Kent. They're just blimmin' hippies, Josh, and their spider protection.
Yeah, and obviously now that now that actually the company's Viacom is now Paramount, every company that was Viacom is now a Paramount brand. So that includes CBS, Showtime Networks, MTV, Comedy Central. So, you know, you could have some sort of music-based attraction.
Yeah.
Get
Could well
Dave
do.
Chappelle to do a comedy stand-up show.
Is he cancelled? I lose track of who's cancelled.
I think he might be cancelled these days.
Corporate ownership and brand names, I lose track of who's cancelled and who's not and who's uncancelled.
Dave Chappelle was a weird case because he was uncancelled. He was I don't know what you want to call it, but he was liked because he was not paid by Comedy Central. Like Comedy Central screwed him over. Well, this was a while ago now, so he was well liked because of that. But now he said some things that are potentially controversial. So I think he might be cancelled now. It's hard to keep up.
There's like a Netflix special he did, right, where he made some jokes about. I don't want to get into this.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So yeah, there you go. No date yet on that Paramount project, I don't believe. But anyway, one project that does have a date, Josh, is Epic Universe. Well, kind of. That's sort of targeting 2025, of course. This is the well, I think most people would consider this a third gate for Universal Orlando, but Universal Orlando consider it a fourth gate because Volcano Bay is a theme park to them.
It's not, but there you go.
I don't think it is either. But anyway, Epic Universe, very exciting project, of course. We've talked about it plenty on the podcast over the years. I'm sure it will continue to be spoken about on the podcast and on this particular show for however long we do these. I don't want to commit to years and years and years, Josh. You never know. But I guess in sort of Disney-esque fashion, and I guess this also makes sense, right? Because there's already a Universal Boulevard.
Yes.
They have put in, I guess, planning permission, to use UK parlance, with Orange County to rename a road that, come 2025, will sort of ferry guests towards the new theme park. And appropriately enough, they want to call it Epic Boulevard, which, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a residential street. But man, if it was, how cool would it be if your address was Epic Boulevard?
But they are building those that new housing estate, right? So is that?
Oh yeah, they're meant to be building.
I think that's off of Kirkman though, so not quite
affordable housing.
Yes,
we'll see how affordable that ends up being.
I think that might be off Kirkman though, not off Epic.
Yeah. Epic Boulevard, though, that's a cool name. This comes from Orlando Park Stop. Alicia Stella over there, absolutely terrific at staying across planning documents and things like that. Apparently, another suggestion that they've put forward is Epic Parkway. I think Epic Boulevard's way better. This will connect an existing destination parkway to what will be an extended Kirkman Road. Construction is ongoing there at the moment. That's going to be extended 1.7 miles south to connect the existing resort to the new Epic Universe. Because this is obviously going to be quite a different sort of. Well, it's going to be quite a different setup for Universal, something that they haven't been used to. Because of course the two main theme parks are plonked right next to each other. You get to them in the same way. Volcano Bay, obviously, you hop on a bus, but if you're driving there first to park, you're again parking in the same place as you are for the other two theme parks. So this one being down the road as it is going to make things slightly different. I guess we're too early to know yet whether or not they're going to put on transport from the existing site to the new park. You'd have to imagine so, right?
I think that's already been discussed to an extent. I think it's going to be busing people between them. I kind of wish they would do something a little bit more interesting in terms of transportation. Maybe, I don't know, like a...
Cable cars, love a cable car.
Maglev system, which is like a monorail on steroids.
Yeah, a roller coaster.
One up Disney every time is one.
2 mile roller coaster. You have to get on it to go.
Yeah, half of it is just going uphill.
Yeah,
and the other half is just going downhill.
Yeah, a really long cougar arm. You just get flung around the whole way down the road.
The irony is, if they hadn't have already built Diagon Alley, they could have built it here and had a proper train that went to the other part.
Oh, yeah. It always makes me laugh when you see sort of aerial photos of the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
And the track between the two parks. It looks, to be frank, really lame. And frankly, I mean, it just makes the illusion that they create all the more impressive. But it is funny just to see it out there in what is essentially looks like a car park or a back lot.
Obviously, it's not even a real train. It's because it's pulled by a rope.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what? No way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as well as the sort of, having found the planning documents, there are some fantastic sort of annotated maps and diagrams in the Orlando Park Stop article, which you should be able to see up on your screen, which do a good job of kind of setting out exactly how these new roads are going to connect to the existing network and make it easy for people to get to the new theme park. In terms of the roads themselves, Kirkman Road, for example, the extension to that, they're hoping to have done by the end of 2024. So well in advance of the theme park opening, which is expected in the summer of 2025. So any time from sort of May 2025 onwards, we would hopefully expect to see Epic Universe. So yeah, very exciting. And, you know, we've seen how quickly things can start to go vertical when it comes to theme park construction. So yeah, given the extent and the amount of coverage this park has been getting by a Reconstruct, for example, with its aerial photographs, you know, I think we'll start to see things taking shape pretty quickly over the coming months and years. So plenty to look forward to with Epic Universe. And yeah, I can't stress enough, Epic Boulevard. That is a kick-ass address right there.
Yeah, and I think if it's going to be, you know, if they don't accept Epic Boulevard and they go to Epic Parkway, I think it needs to be a very lush, very green road. When I think Parkway, I think park, and therefore I want lush, green, and topiary and that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're kind of heading to the rumour mill this week for our final talking point. Sort of. It's like it might be official by the time you hear this. We're not quite sure.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Mummy. It's been down for a while now, basically all year, calendar year at Universal Studios Florida. It's been a mystery until now, really, the extent of the work that they're doing. I remember when they first closed it down, people were terrified that they were going to kind of make it maybe a bit more akin to the Singapore version of the ride, where they kind of strip back a lot of the camp, a lot of the cheese, a lot of the kind of movie set vibe, and make it more of a kind of, oh no, you're actually on a yeah, take the coffee out, take Brendan out. I mean, the man's just had Batgirl cancelled. You can't take him out of this as well. But the Singapore version of the ride isn't really played for laughs. They play it much more straight bat. You are in ancient Egypt. You are on this sort of expedition into the tomb. And, you know, I much prefer the Florida version. It seems like all that is still intact because team member testing has begun. And there's some stuff that's started to come out about what people have sort of fed back on it. It seems like, unsurprisingly, I suppose, there have been a few teething issues, and that's why we're a little unclear as to whether or not it will have opened by the time you hear this. But, you know, we won't name names because we're not sure how much is meant to have been shared or whatever. But, you know, and we've heard a few bits, Josh. We've been told some things, which is why I'm keeping this in kind of the rumour mill for now. What we've heard is what they've done is essentially they've upgraded everything that you would hope that they would upgrade and kept the fundamentals of the ride the same. So better projections, 4K, better lighting, upgraded all the tech, made stuff like the turntable section work more reliably. And the animatronics as well seem like they've had a long overdue upgrade. So, you know, Imhotep at the start, for example, coming out of his sarcophagus, silencing the poor crew member. That will, I think, now work far more reliably. I think Imhotep had basically been working part-time for quite a while at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably as much as you could have hoped realistically that they would do with this, right, Josh? I don't know if a retrack was ever a serious hope. I don't think that they have necessarily taken the whole coaster apart and rebuilt it like they have for Hulk. But the stuff that really make the ride special as a kind of dark ride experience, it seems like is getting all the love that you could have wanted it to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, in an ideal world, they whole hog it and retrack and the whole 9 yards, but I think the most important thing is to do those upgrades where you know, on the screen, the projection stuff and the animatronics and that sort of thing, bring that into a sort of a more modern technology-wise, and I think that brings a whole new life to the ride, and it can go for another long old time, hopefully.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? If you're going to close it down for sort of the best part of 9 months, and do all this work, that doesn't suggest that it's going anywhere anytime soon. And while, yeah, I mean, people obviously have great nostalgia for those first two Mummy rides, but I don't think it's necessarily a huge community. I think they're a loud community. I'm part of it. God damn it.
There's dozens of us.
There are dozens of us. Yeah, exactly. So I don't necessarily think it's a ride that is like a ticket seller anymore. But I'm glad that despite that, they've recognised, how beloved it is by kind of the regulars, I suppose, and the people who've been going for a long time. And don't get me wrong, even if you're going on it for the very first time, especially now in its upgraded state, it's still a hell of a ride. So hopefully it will be there for, could it be there for another 20 years? I mean, it's been there the best part of 20 years now. So
it might be my favourite ride at Universal.
I think so too, at Studios, yeah. I think so. I was gutted that I wasn't able to do it this year, so I'll be keen to get, just another reason for me to be keen to get back eventually and see what they've done to it. They've done right by the rides that they've upgraded in the past, Hulk, Spider-Man, to name two. So, I'm glad to hear that they seem to have done everything to it to make sure it will last a good long while yet. And I guess maybe, Josh, I mean, are we getting 4K Brendan? Is that the implication here?
I don't know.
Can they up-res that old footage?
I would imagine it entirely depends on if they filmed that on a 4K camera at the time. Did they film it as part of when they were filming I don't know, what would it have been at the time? Tomb of the Dragon Emperor or...
Oh, God. Let's stop, Josh. I don't need to be reminded of that.
But if they filmed it at that time, then they might have filmed it with one of the cameras they had on set, and therefore that would have been a 4K camera, because it would have been for the cinemas, and so they could up-res that clip at the end to 4K, Tom.
I don't know. I think that would have... I want to say the ride opened in 2003, and I think that film came out in 2007, so I think that would have been...
I think it does, yeah.
Too far removed, yeah. Yeah.
So,
although suddenly the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor makes a lot more sense if you told me that they filmed it just in the background while they were making the theme park ride and sat on it for 4 years, and then someone said, "We haven't got a movie out this summer. Should we just chuck that weird thing out that we made while we were?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah.
That would explain. Rachel Weisz wasn't on the ride. What should we do? Just get someone in who looks vaguely like her, and we'll make the best of it.
Slap some CGI on it, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, excited. I'm excited to watch the first on-ride video of the new and improved Mummy to try and get a sense of the work that's been done. And then, as I say, eventually get back on it myself. That's it, Josh. That's all we've got for this week's episode of In the Loop. Thank you very much for watching. As I said at the top of the show, if you enjoyed it, please give us a like and please do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you want more from Park Rush, then you can keep up with us during the week. links.parkrush.com is where all the socials live, and the podcast, which is out every Monday, can be found at parkrush.com or wherever you get your podcasts. This week we've got an extensive trip report for you on Disney Springs, lots of tips and tricks for the best places to eat and entertain oneself there. It's a fine, fine episode, so do check that one out. If you want to get in touch with us, comments below, of course, or podcast@parkrush.com. And do consider looking us up on Patreon, because among the many perks you get for signing up is an audio version of this fine program with its own RSS feed, so you can punch that into your preferred podcasting app where it can live happily alongside the main Park Rush podcast. So do check that out. Again, that's at the links.parkrush.com address. We'll be back next week. Stay safe out there, everybody. Take it easy. Goodbye.
See ya.